with-AFO. Tech Talk with AFO is where we have interesting conversation around technology. For some reason now, I am just fascinated about talking to tech actors, people that are really doing magic in the tech space, right? I want to tap from your brain. I want to engage you. I have a special guest today. Let's welcome my special guest with a round of applause. Miss Ajayi, welcome to
Thank you.
Talk with AFO. You are one of those that are really doing wonders in the tech space, and I want to really hear from you directly. But my practice is when I have my guest, I love to introduce Mr. Ajayi to Mr. Ajayi, right? So I'm going to introduce you to yourself. Just hold on a second. Let me share my screen. Let's see if you're familiar with this man that I want to introduce to you.
My tech actor this week is Adeshina Ajayi, a distinguished blockchain expert and mentor with a wealth of experience and a passion for empowering others. Currently serving as a blockchain mentor at adplisting.org. He has been instrumental in guiding individuals through the intricate world of Web3 and blockchain technology. With over 8 years as a blockchain consultant at Digital Focus, Adeshina has trained more than 2,000 people on the practical applications of blockchain, helping over 200 young people gain vital global skills for free. His innovative strategies have also supported Nigeria's premier perception management firm, CMC Connect, and Code Tutor, Nigeria's leading technology education company, by integrating blockchain technology to create business solutions and reward system. In his role as Director of Training at Alpha Training Lab, Adeshina established a mentorship system that has educated over 1,200 blockchain experts, showcasing his dedication to fostering new talent in the field. His leadership extends beyond the tech realm, having significantly contributed to the business development sector at Straightway Foods. He co-created a successful coconut oil brand, driving a turnover of over 100 million naira in his first year, while at Niche's Properties, he led a team that boosted company revenue from 98 million naira to 550 million naira in 1 year. Adeshina's early career at the Assignment Advocacy Group saw him empowering students and small business owners with essential skills, demonstrating his commitment to community development and education. He trained over 1,000 final year students in Lagos State on life after secondary school and created a free tutorial center that helped at least 500 students pass their WAEC and JAMB exam, securing their places in the higher education institution. Adeshina's impact extends to the professional development of young people and businesses. He has coached over 200 individuals, providing them with strategies and skills to excel in the global market. Additionally, he created employment opportunities for over 50 factory workers, marketers, and promoters at Straightway Foods, reflecting his dedication to economic empowerment. His communication and public speaking skills have made him a sought-after speaker at various conferences and seminars where he shares his insights on blockchain technology, mentoring, and business development. Adeshina's ability to translate complex blockchain concepts into practical application has made him a valuable asset in the tech community.
Wow.
Yes.
This is
wow.
Yeah. Wow. I'm blown up, man.
Give me a round of applause now. Come on.
Thank you so much.
I'm introducing you to you. I should get a round of applause.
You really did introduce me to me. Thank you so much for this. I'm blown up, man. This is a lot of work. I mean, thank you, sir. Thank you.
No, you deserve more. I mean, I'm talking about what you've done in the tech space, particularly in our home country. It is indeed worthy of appreciation and, of course, celebration.
Thank you.
Today is really going to be about learning. I can have the privilege of engaging an expert like you, particularly in a field that I'm not familiar with, without not really digging deep and learning from you as much as I can. So today is going to be more of a learning conversation.
Absolutely.
But for starters, let's start with understanding who Adeshina is, your background, right? Looking at your profile, from property to food distribution to blockchain. How does that connect, right?
All
Tell us,
right.
Adeshina, where are you? I mean, tell us about your background and how all of these things crystallize together.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Afo. I really appreciate the
Afo, please,
privilege.
Afo, please. There's no
Okay,
Mr.
Afo. Okay, okay. Pardon me. Thank you so much, Afo. I appreciate the honor and the privilege of being here to share with you. So yes, additional Ajayi. It's been a long time coming. I mean, a very long time coming, and it's always been about business for me, right from when I was pretty young. The passion has always been there, and I grew up in Lagos, right, with my dad. Just my dad. My mom was not available, for my childhood, but my dad was there, and then went through my secondary school and then gained admission to the university. But I remember before I gained admission to the university, after my SSC, that's my WAEC in Lagos, I cleared my papers once and I discovered I was not ready for the higher institution myself. My dad was, and all my uncles were really particular about, hey, you're bright or whatever, you're young, go to school, go to university. And I remember telling them that I don't think I'm ready for school. I want to learn from the street before I go into this university, because with what I've read, it's a place of no walls. Like, it's a place where you have the freedom and liberty to do whatever you want to do. So I was very particular about learning a thing or two. Although my dad was in disagreement at the time, but I was not listening to him. So I found my way to Computer Village in Ikeja. I introduced myself to a couple of business people there who sell phones that I want to learn buying and selling phones from them. A couple people took me in, and then I started buying and selling phones, became a middleman. If you want to buy a phone, I take you to the vendor. And then if you want to sell, I take you. I was just making a couple of money from there. Then eventually it was time for me to write my jam. I wrote that same year. I wrote my jam. I aced it, and I went for my post UTME in Akure. I footer, right, and I was given an admission. But deep down, that this is strange, but deep down within me, I felt I was not still ready for school. So I told my dad that my dad should give me one more year to stay back home and build necessary skills, street smart, and then street intelligence before I go to this place where there's nobody to look after me and all, so that I can take care of myself. He went on, reported me to my pastor, went to call all his friends, and like, he doesn't know, like, this boy has been jazzed, I don't know what's happening with him and all. So they all called me, I visited them, and I explained to them. And then they put me on the condition that, okay, if by the next year, I write my jam and I don't get admission, it's going to disown me as a son. I signed the undertaking, and I went ahead to continue my work. And, so I built a network of customers and then business people in Ikeja. So by the next year, I went to, for my jam, the same course. Then I went to Akure again, wrote my post-UTME, the same course. In fact, the same place I sat for my post-UTME the previous year was the same position where I sat in. I remember at the University Library at the time. And, by God's grace, I was given an admission and I went to the university. At that time, I was already, into big time business. I remember almost every 2 weeks I would travel, from Akure to Lagos, buying phones. I would compact phones, and then take it back to school, sell it to students. Back then, I was making my money, and then, was doing well. And then it continued like that, and I developed passion for coaching and mentoring. I was introduced to book at a very early age by my dad. You know, it was a very good reader. So I had cultivated an habit of reading. So I started reading, and so anytime I read any new book and I get some experience, I'll call my friends in school and I share with them, 3, 4, 5 of them. I'll share with them. And it continued like that. I remember taking them out, you know, to different places, beautiful places, to expand our minds, you know, just to, I mean, in fact, there was a point in school where I read a book by Robert Kiyosaki. The second book, that's the rich flow, cash flow quadrant, you know, after the rich dad poor dad. I remember that when I read that book, I would read the book. The book gave a lot of, you know, powerful principles of running a successful business and building wealth. I would read the book, and then I would go out to a career market, look for business people who are illiterate, who are just there, and I'll educate them on how to, you know, how to be, you know, mindful of their businesses, how to keep record, how to grow their businesses and all. And then for whatever stipend they can afford, they give me. And it was amazing at the time. I continued, and after school, I told myself I really want to. I've never been a fan of looking for a job or getting a job or, you know, throwing out my CV. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure I've thrown my CV anywhere since I finished from the school then. You know, so I told myself I was going to create something for myself and started up a business, and I started a consulting firm. And a couple of my friends at the time, they were already working, they got gainful employment in organizations. So I would read, I would go to trainings and seminars, and then I would come back, I don't want to one-on-one with them, teach them, inspire them, and teach them how to be best.
I really see a couple of things that we seem to have in common, right? But I can't just quickly talk about them. So, for example, for starters, when you finish your SSC, which is kind of similar to my own approach too, I wanted to do something. I was also into telecoms, just like you. You know, my own was even making phone calls and recharge cards. You know, I mean, I took that down. The second part, you also mentioned that eventually, when you finish your university education, you didn't also bother to look for a job. You started your own consulting firm. Now, people would argue that to venture into entrepreneurship, it makes sense to have worked somewhere before, but I mean, preferably a corporate environment to understand some of those important values. I didn't do that. You didn't do that, right? And for some reason, I mean, we are successful in our own right. So before we go deep into other things, I would want you to touch your journey from Nigeria to United States as a blockchain expert that you have today. What informed this transition? What motivated you to transit your career, right? And why United States? Was it, I mean, Robert Kiyosaki that you read back in the days? Is it that some of those principles in his books, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the cash flow quadrant, are these part of what informed your transition that, okay, I think the principles in this book is better applicable in a country like United States, or what exactly informed that transition?
So all the journey continued up until 2016 when I got introduced to cryptocurrency. I saw cryptocurrency, and you know, I saw it as an opportunity for a lot of young people, you know, to become financially stable. I studied it and I started training people, brought my friends together in my living room. Then I would bring people every Saturday. I would teach them, you know, how to trade the market and all. So a lot of people were coming in, and then I started after training lab with a very good friend and mentor of mine, you know, that where we have trained over 100 people now, blockchain experts, you know, who are doing brilliant stuff globally now. And then 2 years into the journey of crypto, I discovered that there's more to cryptocurrency than just buying and selling. You know, I know a lot of Nigerians, because of the conditions, you know, prevalent in the country, a lot of people just want to make money, and it doesn't really work like that. And I asked myself a question: what if Bitcoin or crypto, what if it's a bubble, right? It means that it can go to zero, but there's something about it, which is the technology. And that was where I discovered blockchain technology. At the time, for 3 years, I didn't know anything about blockchain technology. I started researching, and I found out that blockchain technology is actually the technology that is powering crypto. and not just crypto, and a lot of other, sectors globally have started using it, even though it has not been really introduced into the Nigerian system. So I started learning about crypto, about blockchain technology, and I went to Dubai to get some certifications and to organize some events. Then coming back, I started training people. I started my first blockchain academy back then, and then I started mentoring people, training people, because a lot of times there's so many technical things about blockchain. So when people hear blockchain, what comes to their mind is all the technical aspects, but I believe that there are technical aspects and there are no technical aspects. So I started training people, and when it was time for me to expand, because I believe that this is where a lot of things is happening. A lot of these things started from countries like this. So it's important that I move to, I share like this to have first-hand experience and collaborate and have understanding, a better working understanding about the industry, so that I can then take it back home and continue the impact on people. So that was what informed the US decision. And then when a very good friend of mine told me about the opportunity, as an expert with the things, looking at the things I've done, in the industry, even before blockchain, says, okay, there's a very good opportunity for you to come to the US. There's a pathway that, you fit perfectly into. And then we started looking into it. And the rest, they say, is history. And then that's what brought me to the US. That's why I'm here.
Okay. Well, even your journey that started from Nigeria that continued in US, you are here and you are still making, huge impact. That is, truly very commendable. So looking at, in terms of what you've done in that space of blockchain, 2,000 people that you've trained, interestingly, as a blockchain expert, right? So
yeah,
what one would wonder how an individual like you could have, this remarkable achievement in your kitty. Can you share some of the challenges in the process of doing this, that you were faced with, particularly in a space that is as complex as blockchain is? Can you demystify that for us using the challenges you faced as an example?
Absolutely. So now, as you know, blockchain is an emerging space, right? It's an emerging technology. It means that it's just up and coming. Even up till now, a lot of people do not really have a deep-seated understanding about what blockchain is. And so, personally, one of the challenges I faced then was that a couple of the people around me who I started with, they were deeply involved in crypto trading. They were making money. So they were not seeing any need to understand the tech. Like, what's the point? The end goal is to make money at the end of the day. So I was able to convince them that no, this is not sustainable. A lot of times, you need something more sustainable. And then, that's one. And number two, because the awareness was very low at the time. A lot of Africa was just, was still new to blockchain technology. Only a few people. In fact, that was one of the reasons why I had to travel, all the way out of Nigeria at the time to learn a couple of things about it, because the knowledge was still relatively low. So it was challenging, bringing people together and helping them understand that, okay, this is the future. Because, it's something new, and if you are involved, it's like an initiative where you are a frontier, you're a part of something that is just starting out. One of the challenges you have is people will not, naturally believe in it and all. So we're able to persist. So how I started was I got people together. A lot of people needed technical skills. Some of them, they had understanding of Web 2, all right, but not Web 3. Web 3 is blockchain. So with that understanding, I introduced them and then sent them forth to learn deep things about blockchain technology. So when they learn and they become experts, then they come together, and more people that are coming to the system, they will begin to train them. So that was how we started, all right? The first set of people we trained now became the tutors, all right, and the anchors of the community. So as we introduce more people, then they train them, and then it expands like that. So that's it. It was quite challenging, but we were able to navigate it because, of course, we knew that, okay, this is the future. I knew this is the future, and it's going to stand the test of time. So that's it, sir.
I still need you to kind of break it down, demystify it as much as you can, right? For some folks, blockchain, your understanding of blockchain is Bitcoin, right? Or Bitcoin is just some cryptocurrency. I mean, or at best, you probably will say, okay, Ethereum and all of that. Now, so what are the other use cases, right? Particularly that you are, involved with. If you've trained 2,000 blockchain experts, I would expect that they've applied blockchain, in different scenarios. Do you understand? Do you want to talk about some of these scenarios and, the real life problem that you guys have been able to use the blockchain concept, right? The blockchain technology to address, particularly in a Nigerian situation?
All right. So one of the areas where we played largely is in the areas of finance, fintech, right? Now, let me break it down before I go into that. Simply put, blockchain is not cryptocurrency. It's not Bitcoin. That's one of the most prevalent questions I get asked a lot of times. People say, is blockchain Bitcoin? No, blockchain is not Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is not blockchain. So blockchain is the technology that powers Bitcoin. So simply put, blockchain is like your day-to-day ledger. As a businessman, you have a ledger system where you keep records. All right. So now blockchain is like a day-to-day ledger, but now a chain of blocks where you keep data, you keep information securely. So if you want to keep your information securely, blockchain is what you use. All right. So now, let me use this real life example. For instance, now, if I promise you, I meet you and I make a promise of $100 to you, sir, and I say you should meet me at maybe downtown Chicago tomorrow, and then I will give you your $100 bill, right? And then you go ahead, you tell your brother, you tell your sister, you tell your friends about my promise to you. That's a contract, right? And then tomorrow we meet at downtown Chicago, and you say, hey, bro, where's the $100 bill you promised me? And I say, did I promise you $100 bill? I didn't promise you, And you say, oh, but you did. You must be a man of your word. You must be trustworthy. You're my friend. And I say, okay, well, I said I didn't promise you any money. So now, where's your proof that I promised you? Actually, you have no proof that I promised you $100, right? And then your friends and your relatives are beginning to look at me like, hey, this guy, are you for real? What's happening? All right, that's a scenario. So imagine a situation where, we are all digital nomads, and when I promised you the $100, it was imputed into a system as a contract now called smart contract. All right, so we use the word smart contract. So it was a contract. Now it was entered as a smart contract. So automatically, your friend, your brother, and your folks, all right, they have access to the smart contract. They have access to the data, but it's on read only. They can't edit it just like you have in Google Docs, right? They can't edit it, but they can see it. All right. So that's what happens with blockchain. Everybody can see what is going on. You can't tamper with it. All right. You can't manipulate it, because if you manipulate or take out any information, it will send an alarm to everybody on the block. Everybody on the block, and they will know that something is wrong. So that's one of the things that makes blockchain very secure and then tamper proof, right? So at the end of the day, if I say I don't promise you, you can show me the smart contract. In fact, it will execute itself if we time it at the time. And then everybody will see that, oh, indeed, you promised him the $100 bill. So give him the $100. So now, so that's a simple explanation of blockchain technology and how it works. Every businesses that keep record need blockchain technology. Every businesses that keep records need blockchain technology. We've worked with people in healthcare. We've worked with people and real estate, titles, survey titles, entering some survey titles into blockchain technology, so that it's easier to give people their lands. A lot of cases where people say, I pay for this land, and then I've not been allocated for 2 years, for 3 years. With blockchain technology, that is not going to be the case. So there's been a lot of solutions that have been deployed. One of the things we did recently was to work with a fintech. I think we did that last year while I was already in the US. So my team in Nigeria, we did it to create a solution whereby they can monitor inflow and outflow of funds. They give loans. It's a company that gives loans to people, for business people. So the solution was, created for them so that they can properly track, the inflow and outflow of loans that they give out, instead of just the normal data. For example, with the conventional banking, if you send me money, all right, transfer some amount of money to me, you can only see the proof, the screenshot that, okay, I sent this money. It's only the guys in the bank that we know, the operation, the IT guys, how they work. But with blockchain, it's not like that. Every user is in control with blockchain, all right? You can see it, they call block scan. So I can see the amount the money was sent, the time it was sent, everything about the transaction. You can see it, I can see that everybody that will share the link with and that clicks on it, we see it. So there's openness, there's transparency, there's no middleman involvement with blockchain. And that's one of the things that makes it very exciting. So if you're running a business and you think somebody is stealing your money, all right? So if you introduce blockchain into it, you can monitor and oversee everything happening. There is openness, there's transparency with blockchain technology. So that's how blockchain works.
Very enlightening conversation, at least to a large extent now. People really can see how it plays out from smart contract to transparency and monitoring. And it's all of this is what you actually can trace back to the foundation of blockchain itself, right? And I'm taking it back to when, the first, Bitcoin was mined. I was having a conversation some months ago how I lost an opportunity of becoming a cryptocurrency miner myself, right? It was actually a lost opportunity. God knows how many coins I probably would have mined, by now. Now, let's look at it in the context of your ADP listing. Do you understand?
Right.
Your blockchain mentor at ADP listing, which is actually one of the core of your achievements. So do you want to really explain what that is about and what you guys have been primarily focused on?
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much. Now, ADP List is an online platform, that was created to connect mentors with mentees, all right, in the tech space, right? And then basically, primarily, it was created for product designers, product designers, and a lot of tech people were wary of, coming on board, becoming a mentor and all. And so when I came across it and I saw that, okay, this is a very beautiful opportunity to impact people with knowledge, blockchain knowledge and everything. So I sent in my application and, they looked through it and reverted back to me that, okay, this is for product designers. And I told them, well, for product designers and blockchain architects, there's really no much different because what product designers do and what blockchain developers do is quite similar. They work together. And as a matter of fact, the knowledge should not be limited to product designers. And I pushed in and shot my shot, and then they got back to me after a couple of weeks, and then approved my application. Until now, I'm still the only blockchain mentor on ADP List, right? And in fact, a top-rated mentor there. So what I do there is people, connect with me, and then I mentor. A lot of people want to pivot and change career into tech, or they want to come into blockchain technology, they want to know about how it works and seek guidance. So I will help people with advisories and then information on how to pivot into blockchain technology, whichever role, whether as a developer or as an architect or blockchain data analyst, or maybe the non-technical aspects too, because a lot of people without technical background feel that there's no space for them in the blockchain sector, but that's not true. All right, there's a lot of opportunities. We have blockchain writers, community developers, community managers. So what I do basically is to empower people with information, with knowledge, because at the core of what I do in digital focus is education. I'm very particular about education, because when we are talking about adoption, there has to be awareness. And there cannot be awareness if there is no education. So people need to be educated. So I take it upon myself to educate people. And and a lot of our clients do not even understand blockchain. So while you are helping them deploy the solutions, you have to train them, on how to sustain or manage the solution that have been created. So that's what we do at ADP List. It's virtual, right? So it means that it's borderless. So far I've been able to mentor so many people from about 10 different countries from in the world, China, Japan, US, UK, different people, and the review has been massive, and then top mentors are that small, percentage of mentors who are putting their best, to ensure that people get the most impact from what they are sharing with them. So it's been an amazing journey so far.
Yes. So correct me if I'm wrong. eNaira,
Okay.
right? It's also a product of blockchain
technology.
technology, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
I want to ask, why is it quite a bit of challenge in terms of adoption? Do you understand? What exactly is wrong that eNaira did not take off, as much as CBN originally projected, since that's your domain?
Okay, yeah, so thank you so much. It's a very, very important question. And this is one of the things that we've been trying to address in the Nigerian blockchain industry. We recently created a community where we can sit down with, government officials and stakeholders in the country and talk about these things. See, I tell people a lot of times knowledge is power, right? And for government officials, they need to create regulations that would enable such innovations like this to thrive. Now, the knowledge gap in blockchain is not just limited to Africa and Nigeria. Trust me. Before I came to the US, I was thinking that, oh boy, what am I coming to the US? I mean, I'm coming as a learner. I know this is where it all started. Everybody here knows about blockchain. But sir, I was blown away at the point of entrance into at the O'Hare Airport in Chicago. The guy to check me into the country, when he asked, what am I coming to do? I said, I'm coming in as a blockchain consultant. I was shocked when he asked me, what is blockchain? What is it? What is that even? I was like, are you for real? Then it was dawning on me. I explained to him, and then he called about 2 of his friends and said, hey, come see this guy is saying mystery. I'm like, wow. So I explained to them, they stamped me in, and then a week after, I went to one of the biggest banks in America here to open a business account for my company. The bank manager there asked me, what do I do? I said, I'm a blockchain consultant. He said, what is blockchain? I said, are you for real? He said he's never heard about blockchain before. I said, no, this must be a joke. In my mind, I was like, something is coming to take over your job. You don't even know about it yet. This is interesting. So I explained to him and all. And after that, I realized that a lot of people do not even know. Yes, they know about crypto, all right? They know about Bitcoin, but they don't know about blockchain, And so back to Nigeria now, we need to, when government officials are trying to appoint, ministers for ICT ministries or IT ministries, they need to get people with tech background who have adequate knowledge about these things, because you see, today Nigeria say they are banning crypto, tomorrow they say they are lifting the ban, the next tomorrow they say they are banning crypto, such, it means that you don't even understand what is happening. All right, so we are so much backward in terms of knowledge and understanding of this revolution. So I think that's one of the major problems when we have people at the end of affairs who are so ignorant about, the technology, space and all, and they are not willing. I want to believe that as a government official, if you want to understand, a particular industry, there are experts in that industry. In Nigeria now, there are blockchain experts, there are people who are developing powerful blockchain solutions for, countries and then for companies abroad. So there are people there in Nigeria. So invite them to the table, have a sit down, let them explain to you what is happening, understand how this thing works. That's how it's being done. So I believe that's one of the reasons why the whole thing is inefficient, and we just want to join the whatever, and everybody is creating CBDC, that's central bank development currency, and then everybody is creating it. I want to create, but it's not about that. It's about understanding the need for it and, putting it to work and ensuring that it's working as you meant it to be. Right.
All right. So let's also do it this way, right? You've consulted for quite a number of companies on blockchain back in Nigeria, and you've been part of, some landmark project, and you talked about a fintech company earlier, right? I want you to look at the US experience and the Nigerian experience, right? The type of problem that you solved in Nigeria, companies that you consulted for, compared with the ones in US. How relatable are these scenarios? right? And in some of your clients back in Nigeria, right, what are the areas of application from the lessons you learned in US, and how you plan to use that as a way to address the Nigerian challenges? So it's really more
All
of a
right.
compare and contrast
Yeah, I
question
get you,
here.
sir. Okay, so basically, to be honest with you, a couple of the countries we consulted for in Nigeria or that was telling, as clients right now, they are companies that have international exposures. Their country, these are some of them. The last company we consulted for was YC 2022 or so, Y Combinator. All right. So, I mean, the founders, have been to Silicon Valley severally. They've received fundings from international investors from the US. So they are not people with local understanding. And that was one of the challenges we faced too, right? The truth is, even SMEs can use blockchain, all right, to grow their business, especially since COVID started, since COVID happened, and the world took a new turn altogether. A lot of people, have been able to embrace the power of blockchain to transform a thing or two about their businesses. Now, coming to the US, some of the companies who have consulted for, there are people, they are not ignorant of the powers. In fact, they understand the value of what you're presenting, and to be honest, the most of my job so far in the US has been in the area of onboarding people into the space, right? Onboarding people into the space. I've had training sections. I've gone to schools, public schools, high schools in different parts of Chicago to, introduce blockchain to the students there, all right? K-12 students and their teachers there. And then so one of the projects we're working on is called Blockversity, where we're trying to create a system where people can learn, I mean, it's for the US, environment, not outside the US, for US, because I realized that at the point I thought that maybe they are deliberately keeping people from understanding this thing, maybe because of the liberation or because of, what is going to, benefit them. But at the end of the day, we realize that a lot of people really want to learn about these things. So majority of my projects so far have been, organizing conferences, seminars, where we bring people in and teach them about blockchain technology and how to imbibe them, the technology into their businesses. Right.
The biggest of all disruption in the last couple of years in the tech space, and which we've not even seen anything yet, is AI, right?
Right.
Now,
Right.
what is the interoperability between blockchain and AI? Which one is a threat to the other, right? Or how is it really affecting that space? Do you understand? Is AI a tool of operation, or is it that they both work hand in hand, right? I want to understand the role of AI in the blockchain.
That's the word you used. You mentioned it now, interoperability. All right. Artificial intelligence and blockchain technology, like you said, some of the biggest innovations in the past couple of years. So both of them work hand in hand, actually. One is not coming to take the job of the other, or vice versa. Both artificial intelligence, like you said, artificial intelligence is a tool, right? And then blockchain technology, is a technology, all right? So with the understanding, in fact, majority of blockchain experts and blockchain consultants and blockchain developers now, have been challenged, to go and understand how AI works, because AI is not necessarily coming to take over jobs or whatever. The people who have understanding of AI will take the jobs from the people who don't have understanding of it. So having good understanding about AI and the way it works can aid your job as a blockchain developer, as a blockchain consultant. So they work hand in hand. One is not a threat to the other. They are both, emerging technologies that are coming to change the world forever. So it's interoperability. They work together and they are linked up. In fact, majority of the projects, if you go online and check, majority of blockchain projects that have been executed by IBM, because IBM is very big on blockchain technology. You see that they use AI tools, to effect their solutions. So they work hand in hand. One is not a threat to the other.
Well, these days now, the fear of AI is the beginning of wisdom. Okay. In our conversation, right, we all understand that blockchain is big on trust. And if you also look at, particularly in the cryptocurrency space, one would if there's anything you want to hold blockchain for, is this issue of privacy, is this issue of security, right? And the custodian of the supposed privacy and security is also the one that's been scammed for, or that has been breached at different times, right? We know the story of some wallets that got compromised at some point, that people, lost quite a number of things and all of that. And we're talking about a trust system here where whatever you do on a particular sequence, everybody understands. So how is it still possible that you have, security breach in that particular context?
All right, thank you so much, Afo. So that's where DeFi comes in. DeFi means decentralized finance. Now, okay, let me break that down a bit. So we have CeFi and we have DeFi. Now, CeFi is centralized finance, like the traditional banking system now operates a CeFi method whereby, there's a particular entity at the center of the whole thing, so you don't have access and you don't have control. So now both of them actually work with blockchain, right? So using cryptocurrency as example, where you mentioned. So in a cryptocurrency exchange, all right, we have the centralized exchange, all right? Exchanges like Binance, like KuCoin, like, all of those. They are centralized exchanges. How are they centralized? Because there is somebody at the back end actually who is controlling the affairs of things. All the things you do, they can see it. That's a centralized, So that was what, that was how the whole thing started up. But eventually, people began to, create modalities and improve on that innovation, and then created decentralized exchanges. So now, as I speak with you, there are decentralized exchanges where only you have access to whatever is going on. Nobody can see whatever you're doing. All right. For exchanges like, I don't know if you heard about Trust Wallet or Solana, Phantom Wallet. Those are decentralized exchanges. So for those ones, it's easy to lose your money there. Why? Because you don't need the password, you don't need the username, whatever. You just need some seed phrase, all right, to open the account, and you have to keep the seed phrases very securely. If you lose the seed phrase, you cannot have access to your money, and nobody can have access to it actually. Therefore, centralized exchanges, if you lose your password and all, of course, there are people who are at the back end who can give you, access to it if they want to. So that's it. For decentralization, it means that there's no central party, there's no central body. And that's what we're really pushing harder now in the blockchain system, DeFi, decentralized finance. And it's coming to a point whereby even for your banking operations, it's going to be purely decentralized, where you become your own bank. All right, where you manage everything, you are in control. There's nobody can see whatever is happening in your wallet or what you're doing. So it's just a balance of both. So they both have their pros and cons actually. But at the end of the day, the goal of the whole thing is to ensure that one is updated and one is in tune with happiness in the community and the global ecosystem.
What's your position on regulating the entire blockchain value chain from crypto? A lot of bad stuff are happening. You have government, so at least we can relate with a couple of cases, right? One on Binance, you have the international Binance and issues, you have the international and the local Binance issue. The industry, the entire value chain are doing everything to fight regulation as much as possible. And government, with quite a number of stakeholders, believes that the industry has to be regulated, whether you like it or not. What is your own position on regulating, the blockchain industry, its application? And I don't know if you also could speak to the regulation of AI as well, but I'm just really interested in knowing your position
on blockchain
on regulation.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so I think that it's a very dicey one, Afo. I must be sincere with you. It's a very dicey one in that, how did you even get to this point in the first place? How did you get to the point where somebody slept, woke up, and said, I want to create a system, that will take over the world where trust can be built? It means that trust has been eroded in the first place, all right? So now, the people who are clamoring for regulations are people who are not even trusted. by the people they are trying to protect. Trust me. So the government is trying to do everything to regulate. While I understand the stand of the government globally and locally to regulate, because people can be very funny, right? But at the same time, what has happened over the years, in the traditional finance, terrain, has not given anybody, you know what I'm talking about. People have not trusted these people so much that they feel that they can regulate these things. Now, the truth is, I believe that regulation should take place, because if regulation should not take place, there will be a lot of abuse year in, year out. A lot is happening. People are losing, but at the same time, if you come to look at it, it will take a lot. When you look at Wall Street now, all right, a lot of manipulations is happening in the market today. And people are saying Wall Street is trying to take over the entire ecosystem, so that they can be on top of it and all. And then Wall Street says, like a country like America now, they so much, put in principles and rules in place to protect their people. For example, now, I don't think there's any exchange in the US that offers a P2P system, right? Unlike in Africa. Since I came to the US, there's been none, because they put things in order. Even there's what we call futures trading, where people can stake as high as much and lose like times 200 of their money. I've not seen such system here. But back in Africa, you see a lot of, exchanges running P2P and then futures trading, where a lot of people can lose so much money and they commit suicide and kill themselves. So there needs to be a balance. If you want to regulate, then you must come out and be transparent. A lot of people think that the government is being, trying to be political with the whole thing. Come to think of it, a lot of people didn't even believe in this thing when it was, it started. A lot of these, brick and mortar billionaire businessmen, they never believed in it. And till today, a lot of them do not believe in it. But in America here, you always have a stream of two words in the same America. The same America where there are, aged billionaires are saying this is bullshit, it's a bubble, it's going to burst. And then there are young, vibrant tech boys who are coming and saying this is the future. So there just needs to be a balance amongst both. So while I believe that regulation is super necessary, super needed, because if there's regulation, people will not be making so much and be losing so much in a day to the point of committing suicide. So those are some of the things that regulation would do for the ecosystem. So yeah, I believe it should be regulated, but there has to be an understanding and then negotiation with the players and the regulators.
I'm a young man. I listen to you. Now I am so much interested in blockchain, right? And I really want to get involved. Now, so what would you advise, or how would you advise I start? What should be the beginning of my journey in getting into the blockchain space? What area of specialty do you think the future that is already here would require in terms of skill set? I need your advice. I need to be guided. I don't want to venture into a space that I'm not well equipped. How do you think I should approach, my journey into this space?
I think the first thing you should get my free handbook. I have an handbook. It's free. It's not paid. It's for information purposes only. It's called Blockchain for Non-Techies. Blockchain for Non-Techies. There I broke down the basic rudiments and nitty-gritties for understanding blockchain and coming on board, right? So assuming that you don't already have a tech background, or even if you have a tech background, whatever you know about tech is limited to Web 2, so Python.
It's being techie. So when you say being techie, what skill set are you referring to? Is it a software developer?
Yeah. Programmers, yes. Software development, programmer, you can write programs, Python, C++, Java, and all of those. SQL, you can do all of those, right? So because it's like, it's a progression. Let me mention that. It's a progression. We had Web 1, we have Web 2, and then now Web 3. It's a progression. The era of Web 1 was, era of Wikipedia, where you can only read and take in information. You can't interact, you can't engage. That's Web 1. Web 2, the era of Web 2 is, the era of social media, all right, where there's a central body who is managing all the data, like Facebook and Instagram. They have access to your data. So with that, with Web 2, you can engage, you can interact, all right? If I post something, you can like, you can share. Now, Web 3 is giving you control as a user, right? So to have Web3 skills, you have to, first of all, understand Web2 and add those skill sets first. All right. That is, if you want to come to the technical aspect of Web3, of blockchain, which is, writing programs, developing blockchain solutions, and as a blockchain architect or analyst, right? But if that is not where you're coming in, for those who don't have tech backgrounds and who do not want to, come into tech and programs and all of those, there are different areas of blockchain technology where you can play in, all right? You can become a blockchain writer. Blockchain writers make a lot of money. They work remotely, make a lot of money. Blockchain community management, community engagement. Blockchain is community-oriented. For every blockchain project you see, you will see a community. That's why you see Discord, Telegram bubbling with projects. So there's always the need for community managers for all of these projects. So if you want to come into blockchain technology, get to understand the basic rudiments. And then once you do that, by the time you're done reading my book, honestly, and that's one of the things I do to people, I refer them to the book. And once you're done reading it, you understand where you want to play. All right, the aspect of blockchain where you want to come into, whether you want to go into the deep tech aspect of blockchain or you want to remain a non-tech player in the blockchain sector.
All right. So talking about community management, which you just referenced, so that will take us into the final segment of our conversation.
Okay, sir.
I don't know if you know about this, right, or if you've heard about it. There was a recent, research position from UNICEF that confirms that 93% of Nigerian youth between the ages of 15 and 25 don't have access to ICT education. Part of what is driving me with TechTalk-With-AFO, with some of the different projects I'm involved with, is because I believe that we also should do as much as we can in our own little way to make difference in the tech space, particularly in our own country, Nigeria, to touch a point that we also can stand shoulder to shoulder to the main actors, do you understand, when it comes to technology globally. So committed to that. And if you also look at my own background of the fact that my uncle of blessed memory gave me a fairly used laptop that gave me whatever experience I have today or whatever I've achieved in the tech space today. So how can we empower more people? And that informed the idea of a TechTalk-With-AFO's community chest. Do you understand? So I'm going to open this chest. Whatever I bring out of this chest is a task that must be accomplished by you. And I'm going to hold you accountable for it. The idea is for all of us to contribute in our own little way to the tech space. I probably would also even make extra demands of you depending on what we see here.
Okay.
So this is it. And I'm going to read out you're lucky. I'm going to read out your task here.
Okay. All right.
Because for some of the tasks, I'll tell you some of the things I have here, but I'll tell you the one that you're lucky to have chosen. Okay.
All right, sir.
Now, this one is simply asking you to find 2 schools, right? 2 schools, and you should disseminate ICT education. And when I say 2 schools, I'm saying 2 schools in Nigeria where you come from.
I get it.
Right? In a way you will add value. You don't tell me that you've done 2000 training before. No. Now you need to add value to 2 schools to help bridge and address this ICT education gap. That is what you are being requested of by my chest here.
Your chest, okay.
You understand? So that is one. The one me I will ask of you, right? We also can discuss that offline, how you can help out. I'm trying to get more used computers across US, right? And get it back to Africa. 700 already is in Nigeria as we speak, and I've distributed quite a number of them. My target is to do 1,000 this year, right?
Wow.
What is being referred to as end of life in US is the beginning of life for us back home. Like I said, my success story is because of that fairly used laptop that I got from my uncle. Do you understand?
Wow.
If there's anything you can do to support with that, I will sincerely appreciate. What I do at the moment, all the laptops that I've shipped back, I source them on liquidate.com, government deals. When I get it back home, I will refurbish, get it back, and deliver to people that needs it. In fact, I've had instances where some of the laptops that we fixed came back with issues, and the guy that I gave the laptop to for free was actually complaining that, okay, Afo, why would you give out something that would have issues?
It's bad.
I said, bro, what you just accused me of was also my own story. Right? If you truly need a tech education and you are so passionate about it, what I did when I had that issue, also go and do it.
Wow.
And just like you, the example you give, I was frequenting Computer Village, and that computer served me. It served me. God knows how many computers that I bought afterwards. Do you understand? So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is, whatever we can do in our own little way, let's make difference as much as we can. I also started another new initiative, which we interestingly talked about day before yesterday, where you joined the session on also helping our community here. Super impressed with your achievements and what you're doing, right? I can only say thank you for your sacrifice and trying to make a difference in your own little way, right? I love to celebrate my fellow tech actors who are making difference. For some weird reason, most of us are not getting the type of acknowledgement that we deserve. Do you understand? So if they won't celebrate us, let's celebrate ourselves now. That's the essence of Tech Talk with Afo. Thank you so much for your time, and of course,
thank you.
Let's keep in touch and keep the conversation going on.
Absolutely.
Any question from me before we bring this conversation to an end?
Okay, yeah, thank you so much for that. So for my task, I want to talk about my task. The first one, find two schools, disseminate ICT education in a way that will add value to them. Honestly, this is in tangent with one of the projects that we're about to do, in this third quarter of the year. I've had a couple of schools impacted in Lagos. For instance, there are 3 universities in Nigeria where I'm the patron of their blockchain clubs. LASU, Lagos State University, they have a blockchain club patron there where we, started off with blockchain education, and a lot of people started getting training. And even after school, they go into the boot camp, straight up from the boot camp, they get paid employment, they get jobs as blockchain developers and are working remotely as fresh graduates. So it would be an honor. I would speak with my team in Nigeria and then work out something. So I don't know, when you talk about schools, are you talking about secondary schools or higher institutions? Because our engagement so far has been with higher institutions so far. We've not done anything with secondary schools. I've only done stuff with high schools in the US, not Nigeria.
It can be a mix of both. I love secondary schools because it's actually at that stage where you shape the minds of kids to make that final decision in terms of the next phase of their life.
I agree with you. Okay, that will be done. And then the second one, we can always talk about that offline, after now. To be a very big privilege to be a partner with this initiative. I celebrate what you are doing. Thank you so much. And then don't stop, sir. Thank you so much.
All right. Bro, that's the final part of everything.